things to actually learn is that empowerment is something so internal that sometimes when we try to bring it to the outside, it actually causes that kind of controversy that you can't always tell an empowered person. You might see somebody quiet. Are they necessarily disempowered? Not necessarily. See how we're so quick to see someone who's confident on the outside and think they're empowered, whereas one of the things to actually learn is that empowerment is something so internal that sometimes when we try to bring it to the outside, it actually causes that kind of controversy that you can't always tell an empowered person. You might see somebody quiet. Are they necessarily disempowered? Not necessarily. See how we're so quick to see someone who's confident on the outside and think they're empowered, whereas their own self-esteem about how they feel about themselves internally might be destructive. And that's why even when I work with clients, we separate between confidence and self-esteem. Because self-esteem, you can feel really amazing about yourself but not be confident enough to come out there and show it and express it. And some people are very confident to be outside and celebrities and really big, but when you speak to them, they're really struggling internally. Their own self-esteem about how they feel about themselves internally might be destructive. And that's why even when I work with clients, we separate between confidence and self-esteem. Because self-esteem, you can feel really amazing about yourself but not be confident enough to come out there and show it and express it. And some people are very confident to be outside and celebrities and really big, but when you speak to them, they're really struggling internally. And that's why when we look at empowerment, there's no one face to it. There's so many different things. And what I want you to do now is consider your own life, taking it back internally now and see where you are on that journey. What does empowerment look for you? What does it look like to you? What is it that you want to achieve that you don't get stuck in? That even if I've got anxiety, even if I've got fears, it doesn't stop me from taking action. It doesn't stop me from being still and not doing the things that I want to try and do and achieve and serve through it. Two things that I always tell people, if you can go and live your life by it, you will achieve happiness. And that's one, growth, self-growth. Always aim to grow, always aim to challenge yourself and step outside the comfort zone. That's such a big one, and it was mentioned with the group, okay? You mentioned that it's actually stepping out, the willingness to step out. And you might be sitting here and saying, actually, I can't do that. How do I step out my comfort zone? How do I do that? And the first thing, there's kind of three things that I wanted you guys to think about is, first of all, to take responsibility. Number one, there's three things that I really want you to go home with. Obviously, empowerment is such a big topic, but three steps that I want you to go through. Number one is taking responsibility. One of the most disempowering things that you can start doing is pointing fingers. They didn't help me, they didn't serve me, I didn't get that kind of upbringing, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time. Pointing fingers, that person doesn't allow me. All of those things, oh, my upbringing didn't teach me, my career, my school, my work, my boss, all of those things. As soon as you start pointing fingers, you're taking that responsibility and empowerment away from yourself. Taking responsibility of your own life is number one key, okay? Where am I and where do I want to be? It's getting outside of that victim mindset that we talked about there and start saying, I am my own rescuer. I don't need anyone to rescue me. And you might sit there and think, oh, that sounds quite easy, but it's actually really hard. Yes, it will be hard. Because trust me, I've been there myself where I've said, oh, okay, as soon as even I remember when I finished my coaching diploma, I was like, oh, why aren't people supporting me? Why aren't people doing this for me? Why can't I get the help? And why can't I do this? And as soon as I realized that's not going to happen unless you take the action yourself and put yourself out there, it's never going to be done for you. Why isn't this person supporting me? Why isn't this person helping me? It's about really taking responsibility of your own choices as well, your own life and your own choices as well in life. Number two is realizing whatever you are right now in your life, it's one chapter of your life. Our life is a whole book. And you know that, inshallah, in the day of judgment, Allah will hand over that book to us and say, this is what you did in your life. And realize that today is one chapter. Yesterday was a previous chapter, it's gone. Whatever happened yesterday, whatever happened 2 days ago, whatever happened an hour ago actually, your food was delayed, all of that, that's just a previous chapter. It doesn't need to impact this chapter now, and it certainly does not need to be your next chapter. Think about today, what is it that you want your next chapter to be? What is it that you want to do? What is it that's going to make you empowered? Have you stopped yourself from doing that one thing? Think about what that is. Inside of you, that burning desire that I talked about at the beginning, that's your guide. What is it that desire to do? What is that burn for you to do? And think about that, and that's the step that you want to take. Be empowered to take responsibility of your next chapter. And one thing about when we're talking about the next chapter of our life is about showing up differently. If you're going to show up as the same person today as what you were before you came to this session, you're going to continue your life, and we'll meet next year, inshallah, and you'll be in exactly the same position. What's important is when I say I need a new chapter of my life, I need to show up differently. You know that empowered version that we talked about? Something that I always do with clients, which is quite a bit of fun actually, and it works really well, is I say to them, what's your current version like? Scared, fearful, really unsure, don't know where I'm going. And what's your queen version? You know, we said we're going to talk royalty today, and we don't get one queens and one king in this royalty circle. All of you are queens. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over, you all get a crown with this, okay? And I actually made this handmade because the order of the crowns didn't come by, you know, my Amazon let me down. My fault, I ordered it late. But you all get, huh? I actually made them all for you. I actually did. And I'm not a crafty person, by the way, okay? But actually what I want you to do, I want you, for a moment, if you don't have to keep them on for the rest of the day, but I want you to keep that crown on. Put it on, all of you. As soon as you get your crown, hand it over, pass it on to the other side, let them hand it over to each other so we can do this quickly. So what I want you to do, just can you pass half of it to that side and they can pass it on? Okay? I want you to put that crown on, and I want each person to call themselves, like Zainab in front of me here, you're Queen Zainab for now, okay? You get to be Queen Zainab. A Queen Zainab, you're always queen anyway. You're all always queens. But what we sometimes forget to realize is that, do you see, look around the room for 1 second. Look at everyone. What do you notice? You see, I saw the smile straight away. Do you know how sometimes we actually are carrying that crown every single day, by the way, but we don't put it on. We don't notice it. We don't look in the mirror and see it. But actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you that crown and has instilled in you that ruh al-ilahiyya, that spirit of Allah is within every single one of you, and that's what makes you have that faith. That's what makes you have that worthiness and strength and confidence. That's what we forget to tap into. We forget to tap into that inner queen version of ourselves. And for the kings out there, if there was any guys, we've got a king here. So we get to tap into that. So every single one of you gets to say, I'm queen. What are you? I'm queen? Okay, what does Queen Kauthar do? What is she? How is she? How is Queen Kauthar? When you show up as Queen Kauthar, what does that mean? How are you showing up?
My posture's going to be straight.
Show me, go on then. all of you, show me that posture, you know? The posture, the queen posture. What else? How are you showing up in your next chapter now?
Just put myself out there.
What are you going to do to get yourself out there? Give me one thing that you're going to do.
Yeah, I'm going to be more social, make more connections.
Love it. Excellent. I love that. Kauthar. Oh, we got another Kauthar. Sorry, I'm picking on Kauthars today. Go on. What's Queen Kauthar? No, go on. Yeah. Who's Queen Kauthar? The queen version of Kauthar. Who is she? Huh? I love her. Look at her. Look at the way she's seated. Look at the smile. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, someone who exudes confidence.
Yep.
And doesn't keep apologizing for herself.
I love it. Yeah, excellent. So that's something we do a lot of, and I do it a lot of. To be honest, even apology is how you do it and what you feel inside when you're doing it. Sometimes it's not about the word, it's about how you feel when you do it. What else? Who else am I going to pick up? Malad. I'm going to pick on the names that I know. Huh?
Just feeling nice when you feel like I'm queen.
Exactly. And it's that feeling good, that self-confidence, self-belief. And you know what? Every single person who's seen a child, you don't even have to have a child of your own. You know a child is confident when they come, right? We're not born lacking confidence. We're not born disempowered. We are born with that fitrah of confidence, of growth, of wanting to tackle the world. And you know, if we fall, we get up again. At one point in our life, we might have forgotten that, and we might have been driven away from that. And it's up to you. when you leave this room, whether you decide to keep this on, I want to see some of you keep it on actually, whether you keep it on or not, I want you to realize that crown is always there. Every single day, it's showing up to whatever you do in your life, whether it's in you with your family, whether it's by yourself, or whether it's outside at work, or whether it's at college or university. Wherever you are, you can show up that way. And that's when you start to turn that next chapter in a real empowered way. It's a simple exercise, but look at the smiles on all your faces. That's what it does. It's not something difficult. There's no magic button. It's inside of you already. Just take it out. The last thing I'm going to end with, and sorry, inshallah, I've not taken too much of the time, is that when we look at every single one of you as a queen or a superhero, every superhero, Marvel movies, or every movie that you've seen, they all have fears. They all have that self-doubt. They all have enemies, they all have supporters, they all have friends, they all have letdowns, all of those things happen. But the one thing that they will always realize is that the power, the real superpower, is inside of them. As soon as they begin to tune into that, that's when the power starts to come out. That's when you start to show up in a different way. So don't ever think that as soon as I've got that on, it means I can't have fear. No, it's okay to have fear. It's okay to have all of those things holding you back. But it's saying I'm going to push through them because I'm a queen version of me today.